So Frontier gave me early access to the Aardvark pack, and all I can say is, oh boy. But I'm going to be building a habitat for the meerkats and the aardvarks. Kind of an Arabian palace kind of style, but it's more of a city building, but it's large enough to probably be called a palace because it's me. I always build things huge, so let's just get straight into it. Yeah, that intro was correct with the oh boy part, because I can just sum up everything I'm going to say about the meerkats by just linking one video, and Kane is probably going to be thinking, I told you so. Well, not told you so, but yeah. So let's talk about the meerkats, because as I said, I'm already slurring because I'm just like, My entire thought process surrounding the meerkats that got added with the Aardvark pack can be summed up by that video, because in a way, it's right. I, in a way, predicted the future, I would say, because I want to be positive. Like, the meerkats, they look beautiful. They are disappointing though. Like, I can say look beautiful, but beyond that, it's kind of just like downward slope. So let's, go in depth, because now I'm just rambling on about how I'm disappointed. But when it comes to the meerkats, there's quite a lot of issues that I experienced while building this habitat. Well, not while building this habitat, but while just looking at my meerkats, which is that there's animation glitches, I would say. Like, they have an enrichment item, which is basically a log with holes in which they pop out of the holes. Yeah, I've had it multiple times that they just pop out, not of the holes, but just like a few centimeters ahead of the hole, so they're just sticking or clipping through the woods. And then there's this, I think it's some kind of like mating interaction that they have with each other, or it's just some other friendly interaction that they have with each other. It's always a male and a female, so I'm thinking that's a mating interaction. But it's basically the two meerkats stand up, which I wanted to see, of course. And there's one behind the other. It's, I think, usually the male behind the female. And the one that's behind, so the male, puts its paws on like the shoulder of the female that's in front. Or at least that's what's supposed to happen. But the meerkats never get close enough to each other, so the paws of the male behind the female one just float in the air on where her shoulder should be. I've had this interaction quite a lot of times while watching them. I watched them for like 30-40 minutes, and every time, without failure, there would just be floating paws. He was just like doing jazz hands with the female, so there's that. And then the burrowing mechanic. Ooh, it's broken. Ooh, it's... First of all, it's not what I hoped it would be. They don't see the burrows that they make as like a sleeping area. They still want hard shelter, as in like a doggy house, basically. And I don't think they sleep in their burrows, because I just saw them sleeping on the ground. Like, I had 3 meerkats that I placed in this habitat, and they just slept on the ground. They didn't sleep in the burrows that they made. And also the burrows, what I like about the burrows is you can't force the meerkat to burrow in a certain place. In the end, I tried to make like a nice little area to kind of like entice them to burrow there, but they just burrowed in an entirely other place. The good thing is though, burrows aren't permanent, which is a good and a bad thing, because I think in real life burrows are a little bit more permanent, but burrows in Planet Zoo are just a teleportation tool. Like, the meerkat goes into, like, they dig their burrow, and they go into it and they pop out somewhere else in the habitat, usually not too far from the original hole, but yeah, they just use it as kind of like a teleportation kind of thing, because I haven't seen them sleeping in there yet. Well, you don't actually see them, which is also an issue. Or what happened with me is that occasionally a meerkat would burrow and would come out. In between, they would turn invisible. But what happened with me was they came out and stayed invisible. So I had 2 invisible meerkats running around at a point. And the only way that I could fix this was by boxing them. And then unboxing them, because that turned them visible again. But yeah, that was kind of weird. Like, I thought for a second, because I was having like the camera connected to the meerkat and it happened, and yeah, they just I thought I was going to be like, oh, they are making a really long hole or a really long tunnel. No, they were just invisible. So yes, the meerkats are disappointing, and the only thing I would say that actually saves this habitat, in my opinion, is the build itself and the aardvarks that are placed in it, because the aardvarks aren't that, well, they aren't broken. The meerkats, I really hoped for so much, especially when I saw the trailer and the burrowing thing. I was just like, yes, Frontier is going to deliver, Frontier listened, and then it's really just... I'm sure that Frontier is not going to give me early access anymore after this video, but I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I had such high hopes with the meerkats, but they are just not really there. Like, another point that I made in that, like, my meerkats are going to be disappointing video is that, oh, they are going to be standing in just random places, standing up, like doing their iconic poses, which did happen. So a lot of things that I said in that video that were going to happen did happen, and I'm sure that Frontier is going to nail my face to a dartboard. Well, they are probably right now just like making a fire and putting that dartboard on the fire and just chanting hellish demonic things. Yeah, like, again, I hoped meerkats were going to be, you know, the thing, were going to be the next level animal, but they are not. So let's just like, I've been ranting about the meerkats right now for a bit too long. If you wanted really in-depth meerkats with like really like this new special mechanic with the burrows, yeah, burrows are teleportation tools. It's kind of like they teased the burrows, but they never fully delivered on them. So yeah, at least I made a fun build, I would say, which, let's just focus on that one, because otherwise I'm just going to turn sad. But I like my build. I like that I could use a lot of the Africa pack pieces. I'm probably going to do a review just on the pieces alone, because again, meerkats are disappointing, so we're the only sort of... Here's the thing why I'm so disappointed with the meerkats. It's that, like, they are, or they were the standout animal. Meerkats were going to be the only animal that got new mechanics. Fennec foxes probably won't have any new mechanics. The African penguin probably won't have any new mechanics. The rhino will probably have no new mechanics. So, like, I was just banking so much on, like, the new mechanics, and now it's just like, alright. So the meerkats are disappointing. That means that there's probably not much else to kind of lift me up besides the pieces. So yeah, Planet Zoo Planet Builder. Let's just... I need to move on now because I'm just turning sad. Anyway, Arabian style palace. I'm going to have to say, like, a lot of the pieces that are in this new pack I love, of course, because a lot of them can be used in, well, a lot of are Arabian themed or African themed, which is basically Kayan al-Bashar. So I can't really use the Egyptian pieces, and I also don't really like Egyptian styles, but it's kind of just like, alright, I can't use or won't use those pieces, but there are just so many other pieces that I can use, especially the lattice works. And the mosaics and just the tile work, those were just like, now I don't have to break my zoo, because I legitimately, the tower that I just built, I built in the early version of Kayan al-Bashar, the version that crashed, and I mean, I don't understand why it crashed. Those towers were only 13,000 pieces each. I had 6 of those towers. I had a dome that was probably 30,000. Windows that were probably also 10 or 15,000, of which I have probably 8, so... Don't know why that game crashed, or why that save got corrupted or crashed. No idea, it's a total mystery. Definitely not because I built a building that was like 250,000 pieces. But yeah, when it comes to the pieces, I love them. I did have a little bit of trouble trying to like fit some of them in, because some of them were a little bit like, you're there, but you don't quite fit into the style that I've already built for Kayan al-Bashar, which is no fault of the pieces. It's just I've kind of built Kayan al-Bashar in a certain way that I need a certain kind of pieces. And the one, like, there's not that much foliage. I think there's like 20, 30 foliage, but the palm trees are amazing. Like, I finally have those palm trees that I first had to make myself, which look way too chunky. You might have seen them in the background in some areas, but now I have palm trees that I can actually use that don't look as chunky. Also, this is going to replace the Ecuadorian Squirrel Monkey habitat. It's basically the big purple building in the old town of Kayan al-Bashar, and I replaced it because it just didn't quite fit in anymore with the rest of the old town. Like, the rest of the old town of Kayan al-Bashar is like all high rises and such, and then you had this big flat building. Well, it's not flat, but it was just like big, but not really high enough. So it was just like high, and then so I replaced it also with the new pack. All of your mods are going to be broken. Just a warning and just a heads up. Uninstall any mods that you have currently in Planet Zoo before the new update rolls out, because the update is going to break every mod until they are all updated for the new update. So yeah, there's that. Also, the one redeeming thing for the meerkats, well, besides their appearance, but then that's what Frontier is good at. It's like making really good looking animals, but then the mechanics and behavior is kind of meh. When it comes to the meerkats, I'm just like really disappointed, but yeah, I mean, at least we have the fennec foxes, which I know are not going to add any new mechanics. I know I'm ranting about the meerkats again, but it's just like, it's such a severe level of disappointment. And again, I know Frontier is not going to give me any early access after seeing this video, but you had a job, Frontier. But then I didn't really expect any fully fleshed out mechanics in 3 months. Like, Frontier is very transparent about one thing, which is their release schedule, which is every 3 months, and I don't really expect any like really fleshed out mechanics to be created in 3 months. So I was already gearing up for disappointment, but I didn't think the disappointment would be this big. I didn't think that I would have invisible meerkats or animation glitches. And I mean, they poop fine enough. that's the thing that they do well. They poop. Yeah, you can't force them to burrow in a certain place, which I love. And nah, let's just move on, because like I'm just getting sadder and frustrated. So also, there's a weird glitch cheating with the building system, which is probably a bigger issue, where it's just, if you place something and then try to move or like, this is actually something that I use for a lot of my like domes and round things. It's like, I rotate it a bit, place it, and keep rotating it. A bug that happened is that I couldn't rotate it. It would just be locked in place. So yeah, the Africa pack is just oh boy. Again, like, the intro was very correct on this video. The whole thing can just be summed up in oh boy. And that's also why there's not going to be any footage of the meerkats, because like it's hard to get them in a state where they are not invisible or just having animation glitches. So yeah, I did, just for the fun of it while building, just let the meerkats roam, because I wanted to see like how their burrowing thing went. And as I said, like you can't force them to burrow anywhere that you want. Like I made this little hill to kind of entice them to like, oh, burrow here. But then also in the end it didn't matter, because burrows aren't permanent. They just disappear after a while because they're a teleportation thing. And everybody, let's wave, because we are waving goodbye to my early access. Oh god, I mean, at least I'm honest. Oh boy. Build looks pretty. I can make towers now that aren't breaking the game, that aren't 20,000 or 13,000 pieces. Like I can make the same kind of mosaic kind of look with one piece instead of 20. So there's that. And I love the foliage. I love most of the pieces. We also have glass pieces that are two-sided. We finally have mesh fences and such. So there's like the redeeming thing of the update and the pack is the pieces. The meerkats, hold your horses on that one. It's not as I hoped they would be. So, like, I mean, just look at the trees, look at the palm trees. I like those. And I like the building pieces. I like all of that. Well, of course, because it also suits Kayan al-Bashar style. It's the meerkats. It's just, damn it, Frontier, you had one job and you let me down. Like, I was so hopeful. Like, you can hear that in the trailer, that I was just like, fuck, yes, they are doing burrowing, but no, you basically fulfilled everything that I speculated was going to happen in that meerkats were going to be disappointing video. They stand in random places, they don't really have a dedicated burrow, they still need your doggy houses. It's... I'm just going to end the video here because I'm sad and disappointed and frustrated, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, there's the like button. This is the most depressing outro I have made. But there's the like button, there's the subscribe button if you want to see more. There's the notification button, but what's the point, because it's going to be disappointing. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye-bye.